Thank you so much. It's so nice to see all of your faces staring back at me. Who is meant to be sitting here? The empty seats make the camera look bad. Please come back to your seats. Everyone at the bar, hurry up, it's starting. I want to warm you guys up. London audiences can be a bit cold. Do you guys know what a Mexican wave is? Alright, so let's start a Mexican wave starting in this side over here and spreading all the way to the right side, or the left side. So start by waving your arms here, and then move it across. Alright, and then it's going to come back the other way. Start here. Alright. Now that was not good, no one stood up. You have to stand up when you do a Mexican wave. Here we go. One more time. Oh! And back the other way. Alright. That's something. Alright. I got you guys a little bit drunk. At the Harambe event, people started arguing and fighting with each other. No fighting at the back this time, just listening and learning and hopefully laughing at our jokes. So, I want to introduce a special guest speaker. I like to be the only speaker normally because I like all the attention, but for tonight only, I wanted to introduce a former UK Entrepreneur of the Year, someone who's been there and done it, and is going to give you an amazing talk about his journey and a ton of things you can learn. So can we have a round of applause starting on this side and going all the way across for Dan Murray. Start there. Okay. Dan Murray, please take the stage and do the computer thing.
So first thing I have to share is another difference between cider and beer, which I still haven't worked out. So if I look like I'm making some funny faces during this talk, it's because I'm not actually enjoying my drinks. Let me have a mic. How's everyone doing? Yeah. Minor technical moment here, just bear with. Okay. Should be good. Yes. Anyway, hi. How's everyone doing? Very nice of Vin to ask me to speak. As you'll hear, I have a sore throat. That's not actually a sore throat, it's just how I sound all the time, so don't feel bad. So I am the co-founder of Mobula and Grabble, and I'm really pleased to say, as a fun fact, that today we just closed a big investment round, and this is literally how I'm spending it, so I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be. As a fun fact, could have been worse, could have been closing it in 2 hours, and that would have been a really uncomfortable time to do the talk. So, where am I now? I just wanted to point out the obvious. I'm at WeWork in Moorgate, and as another fun fact, my company used to be in WeWork Moorgate, and I highly recommend anyone thinking about it to join, because WeWork Moorgate is awesome. So, they didn't ask me to say that, it sounds a bit, but they didn't. Anyway, so, I'm the co-founder of Grabble and Popcorn, and also one of our products, Mobula, which is a software platform. I'm not going to bore you about it, don't worry. But we most recently won Best UK Mobile Startup at the TechCrunch Europas in 2017. And last year we were I'm not going to do that every time I say something interesting, it's okay. But thank you. And if you did, that would still be the only time, so it's okay. Last year we were one of Wired's top 10 UK startups. I'm the host of a podcast called Secret Lives of Leaders, and I'm also the co-founder of the Founders Community in LA, San Francisco, and London, and also the co-founder of an event called Fun Conference, which I'm going to get onto. And then in my spare time, I'm also a monthly columnist for an industry publication called Retail Week and Barclaycard, and as been kindly mentioned, I was crowned UK Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Sadly, not young anymore, because now I'm over 30, so that's that out the window. Anyway, most importantly, these are my children. So I am daddy, hashtag daddy, because it just creeps out all my colleagues when I do that, and they just refuse to call me daddy anymore, they just call me hashtag daddy. But two very awesome cats called Archie and Belle, so definitely follow them on Instagram. Instagram. And as a fun fact, as Vince knows, it definitely pays to be weird. So this is me being, well, myself, to be honest. Anyway, let's start with some facts. So I'm 31 now, and at 26 I was an account manager at an advertising agency. So a lot has changed in only 5 years. And even though it'll feel like it at times, I am British and I don't actually love to brag, and I am also going to appreciate the irony that someone who feels sort of uncomfortable showing off about what you've done and how you've done it is talking at an event like this. So there's going to be lots of sort of positive words coming out of my mouth and really awkward body language, so look forward to that. Anyway, let's start with a predictable bit, shall we? We'll get that shit out of the way. Failure. So, the most important thing that everyone talks about in startups, obviously, you have to start talking about failure. This guy, still a failure, right? There was 300 of them, they still lost. So, you know, when you're starting in a startup journey, you have to go through the experience of failure because it absolutely sucks. And you kind of just got to get used to it. On the other side, you also have to know when to give up. So these are two really, really difficult, opposing feelings, especially emotionally as a human being. On the one side, you've got this like intense resilience. You've got to keep going, and it's really important, you just have to keep going. But sometimes you keep going for no particular reason when you're just wrong, and that is called stupidity or insanity, or just experience. So I've done that myself, and it's really important, like we say, to build up the resilience to actually handle the challenges that you go through. But every single time you fail, the benefit is you do learn a lot about stress and a lot about resilience. So I like to think of patience and human emotion a little bit like an elastic band, just stretching it every single time you're going through these tough times. And then it stretches back when you have a moment to relax. But unless you keep stretching that band to the limits of your capability to build up the resilience, you're probably not going to deal with failure very well, and therefore you're not going to do a great job in startup world. However, now that we've bored with cliches and we've done the failure and resilience bit, don't worry, I don't need to give you any more silly memes that you can find on the internet. If you just type startup into Google, you'll hear the same shit. Whilst they're both sincerely true, and I really mean it, what was cool when Vin asked me to do an intro talk for him, and it was like 10-15 minutes, just something not the same as me, no one can do the same as him, so that wasn't ever a worry. I had to really think about what value I could add to an audience like this, knowing what you're actually coming here to see. And ultimately, you know, you're here to learn about marketing, about growth, about all those types of things. Me thinking about how I've got where I am in 5 years made me think about an opposing opinion. See, I actually came up with this term whilst writing this talk of network hacking. And if you put the words network and hacking together, I just sound like I've invented TCP, IP, internet shit. But what I mean is networking, essentially, as you can see from my beautiful assistant. And what I realised is I've actually done this sort of organically over the last 5 years. And if you think about growth hacking and marketing growth and all those kind of digital tricks that you're going to learn tonight, very actionable slides. The reality is network hacking is the complete opposite in many ways. So growth hacking is all about the quick wins you can get now, whereas network hacking is actually just about having a bit of a perspective on what your North Star is and where you want to go. So you can say, look, in 5 years I want to be running a company, I want to be closing a round, I want to be doing X, Y, and Z, I want to employ 20 people. It doesn't seem very possible when you're sitting behind a desk at an ad agency, but the reality is there is a way to do it, but there are no quick wins. So I'm going to take you through some experiences, but as a fun fact, this is the book I'm currently reading. I don't usually promote other people's books, it just happens to be a coincidence, but I happen to be reading an awesome book. Yes?
I think it's very interesting what you were saying. A couple of people can't hear anything because of the song.
Oh really? Is it a good song?
It's okay.
This is music playing here.
Really?
It's like, yeah.
I think it's humming.
I think it's playing off the laptop now.
Like Roselle, it's really good at beatboxing. So I noticed. Is there a way of stopping that
I think
music?
it's playing off the laptop.
How is it? I don't think it is. Can people hear me at the back? Yeah? Is it too bad? Is it okay? Tay is a favourite of mine, so... Yeah? Okay. Well, we okay? Ish, yeah, I can hear it. That speaker. Should we just knock down that speaker?
Carry on, Dan.
Alright. It's fine. Nothing ever goes off without a hitch, so it's okay. Anyway, I'm reading this awesome book, and you don't have to hear this. You just have to look at that slide and download that book. It's awesome. Anyway, it's a really interesting book. It's about contact marketing. I realize it's kind of a similar principle. This guy goes through all these different tactics where essentially you can get in touch with absolutely anyone. So this is a really good example where he wanted to get in touch with the CEO of a massive company, and he's an accountant, but it's crisis management. So he sends a personalized samurai sword in a big wooden box to that CEO and goes, in times of war you need the best weapons and you need some serious warriors, so think about hiring me next time. And it sparked a little interest in me. It's not quite what I'm talking about tonight, but it's actually like his idea is essentially contact hacking. How do you get in touch with anyone? And the answer is build value or impress them in some way. Anyway, that's the other side. Hope you're still enjoying Tate at the back. There are many ways to get through startup life, but actually I realise that these are my guiding principles. So, the 4 principles that I've actually found help me in my career so far. The first is pay it forward. The second is stop trying to make money. Now I just sound really loud. I kind of prefer Tate. Anyway, stop trying to make money. Say yes, aka get out of the building, and don't take everything too seriously. So, on to the first rule. You see that? That's Liam Neeson. It's fine. If you can't, just assume same old Liam Neeson me that everyone uses. So, even though Vin and I are pretty different, we actually understand this concept really wholeheartedly. So Vin knows that he can rely on me to come and do a gig for him if he just asks, and he knows that even though I actually like doing talks where I'm paid nowadays, I would never ask to be paid any more than he asks any of you to pay for a ticket, because it's all about paying it forward. You have to have some idea about how to add value to other people and just do it for them because you want to. There has to be no agenda, you just have to genuinely care about paying it forward. And the reason for that is I personally believe in karma. So the reality is I have a long-term game plan, and it's really simple. I believe if I do enough stuff for other people, doesn't matter whether they're above me, below me, the same as me, it's all irrelevant. If I do enough stuff for other people, the universe will come back around. And it sounds maybe a little bit, fluffy, but it's actually done pretty well for me so far, I have to be honest. So, on to the first rule. This is the terrible logo, but for founders, which is a community that I started. So 4 years ago, I was basically pretty fed up of going to loads of tech conferences and meetups and all sorts, and just hearing how everyone was killing it. I was actually surprised because I didn't realise that British people talk like that. So it turns out that we just inherited that from America. But from my point of view, I'd actually just failed my first 2 attempts at startup life pretty quickly, pretty spectacularly. I wasn't feeling particularly good about it, and I didn't really understand why there was this pressure on me to say that everything was cool, when actually I felt like shit and I felt like a moron. So fortunately, a friend of mine, Groth, who runs Charlie HR, which if any of you run companies, you should definitely use. It's a little plug for him, but it is brilliant. We use it. Said the same thing. So we decided to just set up a dinner. If anyone's heard of Table Crowd, another plug, you can basically just set up tables and join in and get people coming to like a dinner around a topic, and we did exactly that 4 years ago. And we realised people weren't killing it at events, so we started, like I say, hosting dinners on Table Crowd and inviting people. And all we actually did was invite 8 other people into a private dining room with us and just talk about how shit it is to start a company and how everything goes fucking wrong and how much, secretly, we really kind of just hated it. So it was a really rewarding experience, and it turns out that the other people in the room really felt the same way. The way that we grew the network from that single dinner onwards was to say, there's going to be another dinner next month, and Rob and I are not going to invite anyone. We have 0 power and 0 invites. The only way that this table is going to get full the next time is for the people who are at the dinner who found the value of sharing and being honest, they're going to invite people, and they're going to turn up. It's quite an interesting tactic, but why it was different is because this is basically what you can find online about founders. There's no website, there's no social media, there's no anything, actually. It's actually poor form to even talk about it here tonight, but the thing is, it's a private, personal community that was started based on a single dinner of being honest and genuine and talking about how things are hard. And so what's great about it is pure word of mouth. I mean, it's literally Vin's worst nightmare. There's no social media. But
the cool thing about it is, not only can I not invite anyone personally, and neither can Rob, I also never know who's turning up to the next dinner, but it exponentially grows. And actually, where it is today is it's got 300 active members between London, San Francisco, and LA, because people basically just took the concept and brought it to San Francisco and LA when they moved over there with their companies. And now it's just grown naturally. We get £20,000 of annual sponsorship of money basically just to spend on supporting community events. And we run 4 events a year, and last week we hosted a Christmas event where we basically wrapped up presents for underprivileged kids. And that kind of stuff is mad if you think about the only intention was to have a dinner and talk about things and be real. And the reason I'm telling you is because there is nothing to stop any of you doing exactly the same thing. And if I think about where that's gone in its own little ride over 4 years, it's crazy. So, these are some of the founders that have joined Founders and are participants and really active members of the community. It's crazy to think that these guys, for such successful household brands, feel the same way. They find it impossible, they find it really difficult, and they kind of hate what they're doing, at the best of times. So the reality is, the engagement on the communities that we have an email list, and the engagement is crazy. In the last 12 months, we've had 1,307 questions asked by founders and 3,853 answers. There's almost 3 answers per question by people who are, the kind of people we look up to, but the reason they do it is because they get that it's difficult. We've also had 8 investments and our first wedding, which is amazing. So 2 people who met us at dinner are getting married, which is nice. But most importantly, on to sort of rule number 2, it's all for free. Rob and I spend pretty much every single Sunday, and we have a weekly call at 6:30 every Wednesday, which he loves because he's an early riser, but I don't, so I hate it. But we build this community, we do things for it for completely free for no reason other than we think it's useful and it makes us happy. But on the subject of doing stuff for free, if you ask Vin how many talks he's given, how many free talks, including tonight, the answer is in the hundreds. I've probably written and delivered, close to 200 talks for completely free. And that is the kind of thing that you need to do in your career if you want to sort of hack it, so to speak. To give you an idea, this was my most recent free talk. I was a keynote speaker at Wired Retail. I went straight in between Facebook and Google. But Wired Retail don't ask you to do a talk unless you've already done 100 or so in the past, right? You need a real good roster. And obviously this isn't for everyone, but the reality is not charging people for anything and just providing value put me on a stage that I actually wanted to be on. Like desperately, I'd have done anything to be on there, and I was actually asked. So that kind of work then led to, most recently, having a speaker profile. So I now have an agent that came to me and was like, would you like to do some paid gigs? And I was like, I like free, it's fine. No, I said yes. What's awesome is, if I think about it, I've done, like I say, maybe 200 talks for basically free. And I say basically free, it might be a couple of £100 here or there, I'm not cheeky enough to ask. But between November and January, I've been paid over £10,000 to do 4 talks. And the reason I'm telling you that is because, actually, it sounds amazing. It works out at about £150 a talk in my career. So it's not huge, but if you think about it, it's a lot of effort to get to a really good place. And I never would have got there if my direct answer in the first 4 years was, sure, this is my fee. They'd have gone straw far off. So, it's helpful. Anyway, and this is like my proudest moment in my speaking career. I've been asked to, TEDx Camden in February, which is great because I've lived in Camden all my life. So I wanted to talk at a TED. I was really excited. I wanted to do one for the last 2 or 3 years. And the second I saw that one was opening in Camden, I went for it really hard. I got rejected, and then I made such a fuss about them rejecting me, they ended up giving in, and then they auditioned me, and now I'm the keynote. So the other answer there is, don't accept rejection at all, just going to be super annoying. Anyway, back to doing stuff for free. This is something called Fun Conference. This is the event that I set up. It's an annual conference for founders and CEOs of Series A+ companies to get together for a weekend and basically contribute all the ideas. So all the content is curated by the community, by the participants. That means there's no chefs, there's no cleaners, there's no activities that people bring. Everyone brings their own thing. Everyone does the cleaning, everyone does the cooking. It's like that. So, to give you some visual ideas of what that even means, here's songwriting lessons with full sing-alongs from a professional magician, or food served by Dragon's Den winner or Martin Cooker, or science experiments on how to make dried ice, or life-size hungry hippos inside a squash court, because why not? That's just what someone brought. Wide-reaching, thought-provoking group discussions, frozen cocktails, a rave in a chapel set up by a legend, body language sessions, which was a really weird thing to do and I highly recommend it. Slip and slides, why not? That's the founder of Table Crowd. That's how we basically started with the community of founders. And I basically like to also point out that is like literally the best leadership photo ever. The guy literally just looks like he knows what he's doing. To the end. Anyway, it's that way. You can't go the other way, it's just grass. A bouncy castle assault course, because why not? And this is awesome, I love this photo. This is our awesome host of the week and the founder of Moorgate, Nick Jenkins from Dragon's Den, literally breaking his sack mid-jump, which is a really strong look. Anyway, the cost, if by now you haven't worked it out, obviously free. So all participants were responsible for their own contribution. Nick Jenkins donated the house, which was a pretty big, generous donation. But the point is, everything was brought by everyone else. So you can do an unconference too. All you need to do is follow these simple rules, and also rule number 3, which is saying yes and getting out of the building. So if you want to make it, you have to say goodbye to your social life, and if you love what you do, your work life will become your social life. I'm not a crazy guy that doesn't believe in balance. Of course I do. I try and meditate every day and fail 6 days out of 7 every single week, but I try. And the point is, you've got to go to every meetup, you've got to go to every talk, you've got to work damn hard and get out of the building. Anyway, because I've met so many founders and so many events, I ended up starting a podcast, interviewing them, and actually sharing their insight and knowledge. So on Series 1 of the podcast, I had a special guest, Mr. Technicolor Dreamcoat himself, the one and only self-styled Jesus Christ superstar of the Groth Hacking world, the artist formerly known as Vincent Dignan and now known as Vin Clancy. But I had other guests too. I had founders of some of these awesome companies talk about how brilliant the brands they built were, but all the struggles that took to get there. And Series 2 has just started with interviews from the founders of Shazam, Just Eat, Cafe Rouge, Sunkit, Babylon Health, and a bunch more. So I recommend listening because you learn a lot from these guys. Anyway, working in a startup is super hard. And the reality is you can take yourself far too seriously far too often. The point is, if you're going to work 24/7, try and have fun, have a laugh, and enjoy it. So don't be serious all the time. As my friend Michael Atkinson Smith says, don't be only in the outcome, the destination only arrives if you enjoy the ride. So, to wrap up the quick summary, remember the network hacking that is, remember to pay it forward, stop trying to make money, say yes, don't take everything so seriously, and if growth hacking is quick wins, then network hacking is lifelong wins. And to finish, I just thought I'd say that I'm opening an internship opportunity for someone awesome to help promote Series 2 of Secret Leaders. And if you are interested, then here are some of the ways you can get in touch with me. Mostly just, oh wow, that was too late really to use the microphone on the last slide, never mind. Mostly just follow Washing Bells on Instagram if you want to make me really happy, but the others do. Anyway, thank you and I hope you enjoyed this talk.
Hello everyone. Before we get started with Vin, just wanted to welcome you all to WeWork Moorgate. I'm Ed, I'm the community team here. Thank you very much for that warm cheer. Has anyone here not been in a WeWork before? You. Cool. Welcome to you guys most of all. To give you guys a background on who we are and what we do, there's kind of 2 aspects to it really. One is shared workspace. So WeWork Moorgate is actually the largest co-working space in the world. As you can see, beautiful building, we've got event space, we've got 8 floors of offices here. And you can join if you are starter, freelancer, part-timer, all the way up to, we've got Barclays here, Standard Chartered, some of the biggest companies in the world. The other side to it, which kind of touches upon what these guys are all about, is the aspect of community. So we're trying to create an environment where people work together, where people share services. You can recruit here, you might find your next partner here. It's all about getting out of your office and interacting. So amazing events like this, we've got 20 offices across London, 170 worldwide, and we're growing every day. So if you do want to hear more, come find me at the back. But in the meantime, please give a round of applause to Vin.
welcome myself first. Now, before we go on, it's
It's been a really difficult year. I know that Britain is in a place of real turmoil. I know you guys want big success in your business, and I know that what's going on in the world will make it a lot more difficult. So, before we start, I want everyone to stand, and I want you to give yourselves a round of applause for getting through this horrible year. Everyone up! Give yourself a round of applause. I know it's been difficult. Tonight I'm going to give you everything I can to make it as easy as possible for you guys. We almost set the place on fire with these candles. Alright, so I arrived here last week. I moved to Los Angeles not so long ago. It was 2 or 3 years in the making. It's been a lot of fun. I went to the Emmys, I've been going to all manner of Hollywood parties. It's been quite something. I've been hanging out with Danny Trejo, but 4 years ago I was on welfare, living off job seekers allowance and housing benefit. I was living in New Cross, I was signing on in Lewisham. I was in my house while the riots were going on, like outside my house and in Lewisham. So if you're at the start of your journey, the whole point of tonight is to hopefully accelerate you from where you are to wherever you want to get to. So if you're not on welfare, you are already a step ahead of where I was 4 years ago. And one conversation really changed my life when I was starting Planet Ivy, my first online magazine. I met someone who said, if you just focus on traffic, you will get investment, you will get advertisers, everyone will want to work with your site. So you've got to start with knowing the one thing that's important. It could be sales, it could be users if you're raising investment money, but if you don't know that one thing, you're going to be jumping around from thing to thing to thing to try and work out exactly what it is you should be focusing on. So if you don't know that one thing, you're going to have a lot of problems. How I really made the change, there were hacks, but there was also hard work. So one thing I realized pretty quickly was that if I didn't find others to help me, nothing would change. So if you don't get a team around you, if you don't find the people who care about your mission, it's not going to work. And people think it's about money. People are driven by what they want to do, and often that isn't money. So you've got to think about what are the things I could do today that could make a massive difference to make people want to work with me. So Planet Ivy was my first online magazine. So I hired writers to start producing content for me. Within 6 months, we had 300,000 visitors a month. Within a year, we had 1 million visitors a month. We raised investment money, and I got off job seekers allowance. We then launched a second site, Screen Robot, that got to 1 million visitors a month in 100 days. I got Best Speaker at South by Southwest B2B. I have been a digital marketing teacher at General Assembly. You're here tonight because of Secret Source Conference. And to follow on from what Dan said earlier about giving with no intention of return, I was doing a course, Landmark Forum Self-Expression Program, and they said you have to do something for the benefit of others. So it has to go beyond yourself, and that's where Secret Source Conference came from. So I put on this conference, I got a lot of speakers, over 800 people there, and one of the speakers, Hermione Way, she introduced me to someone who I ended up hanging out with in LA, who introduced me to someone else who became my single biggest client in LA, like a 6-figure client instantly. And that all comes from what Dan was saying. To what extent are you prepared to do things with no expectation of return? So having a Secret Source Conference and knowing the speakers and being able to move ahead was massive. I've been featured in likes of Vice, New Statesman, and Wired, and lots of other places. I was in Fortune as a millennial who went from living on welfare to making 6 figures. This is the one and only celebrity interview I ever did. This is skateboarder Tony Hawk. I did not know what to ask skateboarder Tony Hawk, so I asked Twitter, what should I ask him? And someone replied, when he was skating down the ramp with his 5-year-old daughter under his arm, what would have happened if he dropped her on the floor? I asked him that, he was furious, and he left the interview, and I never interviewed someone again. This is me with Prince Andrew. I helped some of his teams out at Picture Palace 4.0. Prince Andrew's 7th in line to the throne. If 6 people were to die today, he would be king. That's not what I want, but he's the only one I have a photo with. He invited me to St James's Palace, where I met his daughter, Princess Beatrice. I told her what I was working on. She asked for my business card, but she has not emailed me ever. This is me on the cover of Disrupts magazine, right here in London. I just completed a 100-day world tour. So I've been in places like New York, Utah. In Germany, they would not laugh at any of my jokes. No matter how hard I tried, the Germans just didn't get it. Wired magazine also disliked me. A year ago I did a Harambe event right here in this venue, and they thought I was exploiting the death of a gorilla for my own marketing ends. And they were right. This is my book, Secret Sauce, the biggest selling Groth Hacking crowdfunding project ever. So 0 paid ads, 0 influencers, 0 PR, made over $175,000. So people always ask, how the hell do you do that? And the main part of it was creating a viral queue. So a viral queue is when people sign up on your site, rather than saying, hey, thanks for letting us know you're interested, we will get back to you when we launch. You put them in a queue, and they can get further up the queue if they invite their friends, if they like you on Facebook, if they share on Facebook, if they follow you on Twitter. In this way, they bring people into the queue for you, and they do the hard work for you. So what you're always aiming for is who are going to be the people who are going to bring me traffic. So the software you need to use this, queueat.com. Gleam is quite good, Matra app is quite good. You have a viral queue, so whenever you're launching a new product, a new service, a new tanning salon, you've got to have people excited to want to work with you. And you give them bonuses, they get free gifts, free services if they go as well. So basically what I do, I teach people how to grow their companies using insane tactics. I train founders, I work with corporates, I do investment rounds, so I have full stack growth tactics. I'm going to give you what I believe is the best of this year and what I predict will be next year. So, you guys are totally fucked. It's really hard to get ahead in marketing. I forgot my mum's here, right? If I swear, put your hand up to remind me to not swear, okay? But to get the point home, though it seems like I'm giving secrets, this stuff is hard. I have the best methods in the world, and you have a 90% chance of failing even if you use these. The reason is, these are the thoughts that are going to go through your head as I talk in the next 40 minutes. This won't work. This won't work for me. I don't want to pay for that. People will hate me if I do that. That seems like a lot of work. So these are the excuses you're going to have. And you have to push past them, because I coach entrepreneurs from day one, and I see the same patterns with everyone. You will fail if you don't know who your target audience is, where they hang out online, and what problems they have. So again, none of this stuff works if you don't start with these 3. Then you can start to use strategies. So, tonight is all about how to have an amazing 2018 using what I'm about to teach you. So we're going to get you fired up and ready to be killers next year. So I will give you as many ideas as I can possibly squeeze in that I think will work for you. So what makes this different? I never had money to spend. I totally self-taught, and I've tested all of this myself. So all of these things I know work. So I believe Twitter is still big. I'm going to be talking about why Twitter is still an important network if you're in startups, tech, news, or the teenage space. So I've got a lot of things wrong. I wasted a lot of time trying to find answers on blogs or forums when I was starting out. I wasted a lot of money trying marketing ideas that didn't work. And I listened to a lot of bad advice. But I've also done a lot of things right. Content I've seen, but overseen by over 150 million people. I've got nearly 500,000 followers across my network. I've driven hundreds of thousands of visitors and users to brands and startups. So
After automating my social media and my sales growth, what I've discovered, most advice is deliberately too broad. Because most people want you to do their $20,000 coaching, or they want to come into a company and do it. I don't really care either way. I just like giving these talks. It's the most revolutionary new style of marketing in the 21st century, and it can make or break companies. So I discovered this the hard way. Years of my laptop ruined my eyesight. I hadn't had a girlfriend in 4 years, hardly had any sex. You Londoners should have sex. There's enough doom and gloom around here. You need something. But you don't have to go without sex. Just watch what I'm going to show you and you'll get it the easy way. That one wasn't a joke. I don't know what's going on. Right, I'm going to show you all of this. All I ask is that you leave your cell phone alone unless you're taking notes for these next 35 minutes. So if any of these sound like you don't know which growth channels to use, you don't know which platforms to be on, you don't have many followers, you don't know what to post, you feel insecure about posting, particularly about yourself. Does any of this sound true? You don't want to be too salesy, you tried it before and nothing happened. You feel like other people can get big but not you. You don't know how to turn followers into sales, and you're concerned it's a complete waste of time. Does anyone relate to any of that? I thought so. So, here are some good news for you. I'm going to simplify growth hacking, which is getting a lot of results with very little effort and using the internet to your advantage. I'm going to walk you through just two things. Everything that's worked in the past 12 months and my predictions for 2018. So, everything that's worked in the past 12 years. So, companies who build a value ladder have had a very good last 12 months. So, a value ladder is probably one of the most important things you'll ever understand in business. So a value ladder is, you get people with something free. They come to your talk, they see your tweets, they read your blogs, they see your Facebook Lives, and they're interested in what you have. Then you make them a low-priced offer, so $7, $15, something like that, and they trust you with their credit card details. This is a major step. Once they're comfortable giving you a small amount, you can then offer a $100 product or a $500 product, and keep moving it up until you have people who are at the very top. An enterprise plan if you're doing a startup, executive coaching if you're a coach, whatever it is, the aim of the game is to move people through this. When I work with big brands, they say, you're the guy who can get traffic out of thin air, how should we do it? And I say, I can do that, but show me your current email list, show me your current customer list. There's normally a ton more value that can be unraveled there before you go on to the new methods. So, what you should be thinking about is how I will make $1 million. I've got to say pounds in the UK. How will I make £1 million? And it sounds crazy and unrealistic if you're at the start of your journey. And the answer is you have to break it down. So if you can get 10 clients to pay you £100,000 a year, you make it. If you get 100 to pay you £10,000 a year, so £1,000 a month for just 100 clients. £1,000 times 100 customers, or £100 times 10,000 customers. Finally, if you're in the ad business or the app business, £10 by 100,000. So you have to work out the maths of how many of these levels. Normally it's a combination of a few of them by having different things on your value ladder. This should be the first step. A lot of you are talking to investors. They want to see numbers. They don't want to see story. They want to see how it's possible, and they want to see, do you understand how to use numbers? So you split it up in 3. You gather emails, you gather followers, you build a community. Like Dan said, this could be online or offline. If you're naturally a good people person, it's great to build real life events. You gather this by producing content, and you move up to the next stage. Maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's the smallest version of your product. Maybe they get to come into your tanning salon, the first session's free. Whatever it is, you need to get them through the door. Launching on Kickstarter is a really good idea because people feel comfortable giving their credit card to Kickstarter, and it normally gets some hype rolling. So a small launch or a small product will lead you to the next level, where you can start to do live private webinars or have a deluxe version of your product. And at each stage, you are just increasing it. I'm going to talk a lot today about subscription packages, which are one of the main ways you can get recurring revenue in your business rather than spikes of sales. You have mid-level coaching or group coaching at this level. And eventually you have the executive level where you have bespoke packages with private managers. So through all of this, you start to gather people at every level who are starting to make your business something sustainable rather than something you dread doing. Plan multiple launches. You can't consistently be talking about your product on social media. People just tune you out. What you need to do is plan a launch every 5 to 6 weeks. So a new feature, a new idea, a new offer. The rest of the time, you just have to be giving value. Whatever it is, you need to know what your audience wants, and you need to know their problems. Gary Halbert said you must find out your audience problems and stand on their head until it squeezes out of their eyeballs. That's how serious you have to be about getting into people's problems. They don't care about your product, they don't care about your solutions, they care about the things they have which are causing them pain and whether you can fix that. Companies who plan out every customer, they tend to work a lot better. So all the best startups I've seen, they eat traffic from multiple sources so that if one goes down, you're not ruined. So it looks something like this. Twitter, you're going to reach out to 10,000 people, expect 1 in 4 to convert. Facebook, you're going to do paid ads. SEO, you'll do blogging. Instagram, you'll pay influencers for shout-outs. Real life hustle, you'll fly at every co-working space in London. I think WeWork has about 105 spaces here now. The viral factor, each user should invite 2 or 3 people to use your product. So one of the easiest ways of creating a viral asset is to have a referral system. So how many times did Uber get referred? If you refer a friend, you both get £20. That is a seriously viral loop. So whatever you're selling, if you get your customers to act as your affiliates, that's the easiest way of doing it, because they already care and like what you're doing. Here, you could reach out to 50 blogs and expect 5 to 10 to convert. At events, you could organize a monthly meetup. And how do you organize a monthly meetup? Well, co-working spaces always need people to put on events. So that is a free place you can put on your events just once a month and gather people in real life. So your homework is to plan how you're going to get to £1 million, feel how it's going to feel when you get there, and email it to support@beingfancy.com, and I promise I will read through all of them. And I will hit reply with, here are 2 or 3 things I would do if I were you. But I want you to put yourself through this process because it's really hard. And when you look at it, you're not going to want to do it. And that's exactly why you must. So what's been like this past 12 months? Twitter. It has had a small comeback. The daily numbers are up. The yearly numbers are up. It has one person who's very powerful and is tweeting a lot right now. He has driven a lot of users, both good and bad. But because of that, Twitter is a lot more active. And in certain spaces, Twitter is still great. And for instance, in the crypto space and the gaming space that's cropped up these past 2 years, it's super active. So Twitter, with over 4 billion visits per month, is still worth looking into if you're in one of those spaces. Business, startups, tech, news, teenagers. So it's less of a broadcast network than Facebook and Instagram. It's not about getting loads of traffic. It's about finding 1 or 2 or 3 people every day who really care about what you're doing and reaching out to them. Twitter's a good network for what I call spray and pray. You follow 10 people, 2 or 3 who are interested will get back to you, and those are the ones you begin conversations with. You can do it at a much grander scale than you can do on a platform like Facebook. So generally, Twitter's about stealing the good stuff of other people, only retweet compliments, tweet the same article 5 times a week. You can do it 5 times a day, no one will notice. The accounts that get the most traffic are tweeting 50 to 100 times a day. Twitter is a really good start and network. It's a lot simpler than it seems on the surface. Pictures are most likely to be retweeted, and if you send a lot of tweets, you will get a lot more traffic. So another big trend these past 12 months is social selling. Probably the biggest trend in terms of small entrepreneurs and small businesses growing without paying Facebook or someone else. So social selling is the new word for content marketing. Content marketing used to be if you could get featured on blogs, if you could get PR, then you would reach a wide audience. But that meant that most people who couldn't get on blogs or who couldn't get on PR, who had started their journey, they just got 0 traffic. Social selling means you use social networks, Medium, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those places to build a very small but very committed community who will buy into what you have. So the rise of the micro-influencer is real. You no longer need a lot of PR or hundreds of thousands of followers, particularly in B2B. And there's a big misconception about what viral means. People think viral is either 0 or 10 million views on YouTube. Viral is simply that other people pass your message along and your network grows. So, included in my slides, if you email me vin@vinclancy.com, I'll send you a link to get all of these. This is how you can get all of the public emails of the people in your Facebook friends list. So what you do with this, you can then put that into Facebook ads as a custom audience, and then only show ads to those people. This is why I say your personal Facebook should be your professional Facebook. This is the easiest way of finding people who are going to care about what you have and see what you have every day. Don't carry business cards. When someone says, do you have a business card, add them on Facebook. What that means is they're going to see all of your posts. So they may not be ready to buy now, but in 6, 12, 18 months, they've been seeing your posts, you know what you're talking about, now is the time. The number of people, a number of clients I've got who said, I saw you speak in Vancouver 2 years ago, like, I barely remember that talk, but they were like, and now was the right time for us to work together. And that's because I got them as a friend, I got them in my network. If it had been a business card, you go home and throw them in the bin. But Facebook lasts forever. Facebook will never be defeated. So, some examples of social selling. A friend of mine, Josh Fletcher, he spent a year writing on platforms like Quora, LinkedIn, and building a Facebook group. And he launched an agency, and it will definitely do 6 figures in the first year, and probably 7. And he did no paid, no influencers, just him writing and building a community and launching an agency. One of my own mentors, Dan Meredith, he's built a 7-figure business just out of his Facebook group, which only has about 10,000 members in it. So when you think about influencers, you think, well, 500,000 followers, 1 million followers. So he's an influencer to this small group of people who care about what he has to say, but they adore him, and whatever he has, they're going to be interested in. So it doesn't have to be a massive community that you build. Ty Lopez, dare I speak his name, he has a huge social following and gets tens of millions of views, but no one knows him in the mainstream. Like, he's done virtually no TV, he hasn't been in any press, but online he has a massive fan base. So even as you get bigger and bigger, it used to be you were mainstream or you were nothing. Now we have people like Ty who have a massive following, even though they're in the mainstream. And finally, one of the biggest influencers in the world, Jake Paul. He's one of the biggest influencers, but again, the mainstream barely knows him. He did a few episodes on a Disney show, but no one's heard of him, and he does something like $3-4 million a month in merch sales from his fan base. So even as you scale up, the mainstream doesn't exist anymore. So when you look at these, don't think, well, they've got millions and I've got nothing. Just think, they all started with close to 0. They all started through building content, and now they start doing social selling. So here are 5 social selling tools you can use right now. Number 1, this is Message Hero. Message Hero, when you're using a Facebook page, you tell someone, comment below, and I'll send you a link to X, or something they really want. And every single person who comments, they automatically get a message in their Facebook inbox, so you can reach all the people who are interested in you at once automatically. So this is a Facebook bot which sends out all of these messages. This is jumper.ai. This will turn your likes into social sales. So when you do a post on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, or on Facebook, and someone likes it or comments on it, this machinery goes and finds their account and sends them a DM and say, hey, I just saw you like this dress. If you want, you can get it here with a discount. So, and when they click that link, they go straight to your shopping basket. So you always say, how can I turn the engagement into sales? This is how you do it. It's a really smart software that will guide them all the way through the shopping process. This is Sendex. This is another area that most millennials don't really think about, is using the phone. So Sendex is software that sits on your website, and if you're not around to live chat, it'll automatically pop up and say, leave your number in here and we'll call you when we get back. so that you have live leads coming through on autopilot. So the idea with social selling, once you have the traffic, once you have the community, social selling can be done automatically and get you those leads, which get you the money, which ultimately changes your life. This is meteor.link. This will retarget anyone who clicks your links. So if you're new to Facebook, custom audiences are the main way you want to be reaching people. So if you don't want to guess who'll be interested in what you're doing, you can use custom audiences, you input your emails, and people who've seen this Facebook pixel. So the Facebook pixel sits on your website, and then everyone who sees it, you can then target ads with on Facebook. They convert really, really well. So with this, when you send links to anything, BuzzFeed, Wall Street Journal, the Telegraph or the Sun, what does everyone read here? Is the Telegraph still popular? Do you guys love the Sun? I've been away too long. Do any of you guys even read newspapers anymore? So whatever you send links to from your Twitter, your Facebook, this will pixel them so you can then retarget them with ads. So this is a great way of building a pool of people who are interested in what you're doing and getting your ad costs down. This is Pair. So this is a list of people who have massive email lists who are looking to sell to their audience. So you can say, here's my product. Do you want to sell it to your audience? I'll give you 40% of the sales or whatever. So this is a list of people who are potentially hungry to buy what you have. So this is a great way of getting in front of a lot of people for free. So this has brought together mailing lists in one place. Twitter. So in terms of creating content that will make you stand out, it's a good idea to have your finger on the pulse of what's going viral right now. I found this on Facebook, brought across to Twitter. I was the first one to do it. It went viral, thousands of retweets and favorites right away. So many that my name started trending in London and Melbourne, Australia. What was crazy about that was I didn't actually create the content. I just kind of took credit for it and made it one of my own. And because of that, it felt kind of good. It probably would have felt better if it was me, myself, going viral, but it didn't really matter because all that really matters with virality is who gets the clicks. So I started trending, and I got a lot of new followers for something I didn't create, but it still felt good. Another way of creating virality is to screen grab. So what not a lot of people understand about Twitter is a lot of people who use Twitter are unemployed. So they'll wait for a celebrity to tweet, and then they want to get that first snarky response. So a while ago, TalkTalk was hacked, the phone company with notoriously good customer service, and the newsreader tweeted, breaking, TalkTalk has received a ransom demand, and someone replied, they could be hanging on for hours for a response to this TalkTalk. So I screen grabbed that, I got 50 retweets in the first 5 minutes. So it's really easy to do to get something that people care about. Reddit.com is one of my favorite viral aggregators. So people say, where do I find things that are going viral? Go here, Reddit.com, and type in your keyword, and whether you're looking for videos or pictures or links. And this is a constantly updated repository of everything that's going viral. So if you want to make it look like you're doing a job for your client, you can go here, find stuff, and post it to their accounts. So a lot of you want to get into public speaking. I think it's the best way of getting a small number of clients who are going to pay you a high amount of money. So how do you become a public speaker? Go on Meetup and Eventbrite, type in your niche. I gotta say niche. London says niche, right? You type in your niche. And so let's say startup or entrepreneur or founder, and then find all of those events that are coming up, and then private message all of them saying, hey, I'm a big fan of your meetup, can I come and give a talk? I have a massive network I can invite. Just say that, they never check. And give the talk, and then say, I don't know what happened with my network, maybe there was a problem, but in any case, you give them the talk, you'll get invited back to more, and that's literally how I started, and that's how the 100 World Tour started, just spamming that message to a lot of people. In fact, when I got asked to speak at South by Southwest B2B in Vegas, with a month's notice, I spammed this message out, and I gave about 9 talks in America, just using this method. So this method works worldwide, and will get you public speaking. So what else has worked in the last 12 months? Building a community, I still think, is the best way of building something sustainable so that you never run out of clients or you never run out of attention. So my Facebook group is Traffic and Copy. So it's been going a little over a year now. So we built up something, me and Charlie Price. Charlie, where are you? Give us a wave. I was in the bathroom. Okay, well, it's me and Charlie anyway. So yeah, why should you build a Facebook group? If you have no money, it can be built without spending on ads like Facebook pages. Facebook is always decreasing the reach of Facebook pages, where Facebook groups are still an opportunity. The community carries on when you're not there. You know, on anything else, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, when you stop posting, everything stops. So with a community, the conversation continues all day, every day, even when you're not there. So it's an active audience. You can become an authority quickly, and you can build your 1,000 true fans. 1,000 true fans is all you need to make £100,000 a year. If just 1,000 people will give you £100, that will be how much you make. So people think, I want to reach millions. You do, but you just need 1,000 to begin with. You know, Uber had 1,000 advocates in Silicon Valley when it started. That was all it needed, and then the word grew. This is the single quickest way of getting attention, and this is also the last year you'll be able to do it. At some point next year, Facebook is introducing paid into groups, so you'll have to pay to reach your own group. So I've been saying for the past year, Facebook groups is a big opportunity. This is probably the last time this Christmas that I'll be talking about it, because this time next year it could be the same as pages, which are next to useless unless you pay. So if you can't afford to do Facebook ads and you need to build a community, there's no time like the present. If you're selling B2B, your audience is on Facebook. Everyone, from the youngest intern to the oldest CEO, everyone is on Facebook all day. No one escapes it. So they're not hard to admin. So if you don't let everyone post, it doesn't become full of spam. You don't have to be a celebrity. You just have to have 2 or 3 pieces of content every day. As long as you can show up with that, you'll be able to run a group. And it's a future-facing activity. Facebook's not going anywhere. The younger people are going to grow old with Facebook. It will never leave us. And everyone is spending all day, every day on it. So if you're new to Facebook and haven't quite got a grip on how it works, it's worth spending some time over Christmas while you're digesting turkey, finding out how these Facebook groups work. It's a great platform to build a community on. So if you were to start a Facebook group, come up with a snappy title which tells them what they're going to get, but don't call it the online marketing group or the fashion group. It has to be a name that stands out. There's too many clone groups, and it's too hard to stand out because there's already so many people doing the same thing. So you have to have something unique. And you need great posts. So here are 8 posts anyone in this room can write, and I guarantee they'll get engagement. Number 1, if I was starting again with nothing and no assets, here's what I do to get clients. My daily routine, for some reason people are really interested in other people's daily routine. I couldn't care less, but they get a lot of likes. 10 little known secrets of our industry, 10 opportunity areas of our industry. The key is you have to give people secrets, or what they think are secrets. These are the things that go well. Here are some side project ideas I'm too busy to try. People always want to jump on that. The top 3 career decisions I've ever made, and the top 10 do's and don'ts for succeeding in our industry. All of these things always go down really well. You need to celebrate your successes. The group hit 1,000 members, the group hit 5,000 members. People want to feel like they're part of something that's winning, so you always need to be positive. You need to build your core story, and this is the thing that will make you stand out. So no matter what you do, there are 10 other people doing the exact same thing. And guess what? They can outspend you on ads. So you need to have what makes you unique. What's your superhero backstory? Where have you come from? What struggles have you faced? This makes you more human, and telling stories connects us. Most people think like they want to be a super businessman. They want to be super formal. It doesn't work. You need to talk about the things that scare you the most to get the strongest connections with people. Polls are also one of the best ways of getting engagement on Facebook, and they're hardly ever used. But in terms of the number of clicks they put in, very little does more than polls. and I've almost never seen them on Facebook, which tells me people don't believe how good they are. This is how the Facebook algorithm works. The first is interest. How interesting are you? Yes, good, bad, somewhat interesting? Do people generally like, share and comment on your posts? Sometimes. You need often. Sometimes we'll have you go broke and be hungry. So if it's not working, you need to be doing more live videos. This is the #1 way of getting engagement from your posts. So firstly, live videos. If you can't do that, normal videos. Then picture and text. And finally, external link. Facebook hates external links because it causes you to leave Facebook. So if you focus on videos and content, you're going to get a lot more engagement. Recency is the one area you have the most control over. Whatever gets the most likes, comments, and shares in the first 10 minutes will get shown to the most people. So get everyone in your office, or your friends and family, to like your posts early, and you will start to see they get shown to a lot more people. And whatever platform you're on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that works the same. That first 10 minutes is the key if you want to get visibility, if you want to get your posts seen, if you want to get people to see what you have. This is Charlie app. This is one of the most revolutionary pieces of software of recent times. Type in anyone's email address and it will find all of the information about them on the internet. So before you have a call with someone, you can know what they're into and then bring that up and they will like you more. The other use case is when you get a Tinder date, you can say, can I get your email to ask you on the calendar to make sure it's booked? And they say, that's weird, but okay. Then you get their email, you find out what they like, you talk about it on the date, and then you get lucky. Or so I've heard. Another piece of great software is Find That Lead. So, all right. Of all the trends this year, I think cold email has been one of the biggest in terms of getting clients. It's, as far as I can tell, it's the biggest way Silicon Valley companies get their early clients. So this involves a piece of software that will pretty much find anyone's email address on the internet. So when you have a lot of these and you're working at this at scale, you can reach out to a ton of people. If you don't want to, if you're too lazy to use Find That Lead, you can hire Charlie Price. Just put it in the email when you email me and I'll give you his address. Find That Lead is great software. It's how companies get millions and millions of dollars. Humor in cold email is another area that is ignored. There's a guy who does this better than most others. John Buchan, are you here? Is he here? Is he in the bathroom as well? Where is everyone? Right, you're here. Right, okay, good. So what John did, he got drunk one night and he wrote an email to the people he was trying to sell to that said, hey, you know and I know this is a cold email, so let's not pretend. This is what I want to do for you. I await your profanity-filled response. Please don't be angry with me. Here's a picture of a ferret with a hat who's called Colin. So he sent that ferret around and he started to get tons of responses and he saw a massive uptick and then he started to do a physical mail because no one wants to be sold to, but once you tell them, you know and I know that's why they're contacting, and people are a lot more likely to buy when they have humor. This worked really well, and even to this day, if you use the hashtag #FoundTheFerret on Twitter, you'll find many of his responses. So humor has worked really well. So John has a group on Facebook, Charm Offensive, where he teaches people to do that. That's a cool way of getting through the door. So he worked with many corporate brands and got in through the door that way. So LinkedIn is one of the biggest trends of the last 12 months. I would say it's the #1 platform for free organic content marketing. So after Microsoft bought it, they switched it up, made it more like Facebook, and allowed for more virality. So what I'm finding with my friends around agencies in Los Angeles, it's their #1 source of leads now. As more and more people start to use it to check in and log in and waste their company's time, it's getting even better to sell to people. So LinkedIn has a very specific way you should be communicating. For some reason, very short sentences, split up one line by one line, work really well. LinkedIn wants people to scroll, LinkedIn wants people to spend time. So having that with humor and a call to action works really well. Having an eye-popping LinkedIn photo, again, on a corporate place, it really stands out. And by the way, if you're listening to this thinking, well, that's all well and good, but I have a serious job at a serious place, this won't work. The more serious your business is, the more this stuff works. You know, in startups, a lot of people are using humor, so it works a lot less now. But in more corporate roles, when you start to do this stuff, you stand out an absolute mile. So the best example of that was a lady who had a lingerie company, and she would continually post on LinkedIn all day pictures of girls in underwear with the same title, "Is this appropriate for LinkedIn?" And then the war began. Women say, yes, this is empowering. Other women say, this is exploiting. Men saying, I like this. Women saying, men, you shouldn't say, I like this. It went on and on and on, and she got 50% of her traffic from LinkedIn. So you would never have thought that LinkedIn would be that channel, but it is. Because the more serious it is, the more you have an opportunity. So BuzzFeed wrote an article, and they included one of my articles in it about how to use LinkedIn for social selling. The link's in the slides, which I'll send around to everyone who asks. So in terms of general social strategy, you can build it yourself or you can outsource it. So a friend of mine, Dan, runs an agency. And if any of you guys want free Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn growth, just click this link in my slides and I will set you up with a trial to get that for free. Messenger bots are one of the biggest trends of this year. And I predict they'll be one of the biggest in 2018 as well. So a messenger bot connects to a Facebook page and automatically sends messages. So think of it as the future of the email list. So email lists, every year it becomes harder and harder to get through, but everyone is addicted to Facebook, and they typically have an 88% open rate. A good email list has a 30% open rate. So this is a massive jump. So it could be your customer service platform to get your products in front of more people, to get more engagement, so you can send people a link to one of your new articles. You can add to your audience, or you can list build well on Facebook. So there's a massive potential in here. Not many people are building these Facebook bots, particularly in e-commerce or bigger platforms. There's a massive opportunity if you take the time to learn. You know, through things like ManyChat and ChatFuel and SQL, it's just a few clicks to build a bot. And if you're doing Facebook ads anyway, if you're running a Facebook page, this is a massive opportunity. So I've included here a directory of some of the starting points you can use for bots. So if you're new to the game, you can start here. I'm not going to talk about them, we just don't have enough time. And the biggest trend and money in the past 12 months is made people the most money. It got the most hype, and it's the new startups. Can anyone guess what it is? Come on, shout it out. This is a test of how much you've been listening this year. Oh no, I got some in my drink. I can't drink that. Can I get some more water? Right, come on, shout it out. What is the biggest trend of this year? There we go. Of course, the biggest trend of this year. So a lot of you were in startups and Tech City, and I remember Tech City starting out in 2012. So that was good for those of us in this room, and we built startups, we built companies, but it never really went outside Tech City. There were a few other tech hubs. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I feel like a cliche saying this, but everything you're reading about it is true. As a show of hands, who here is making money off Bitcoin right now? A few. 5% maybe? So, why am I talking about Bitcoin? I have no irons in the fire. I have nothing to sell with Bitcoin. I won't be teaching you how to do it or anything, but I feel a responsibility to show you guys about it. A friend of mine in LA said the two phases have started. People who are into Bitcoin and people who aren't. And as I understood what it was, I was angry at myself for having a network so weak that no one told me this past 5, 6, 7 years about Bitcoin. So if you're not into Bitcoin, if you haven't heard of it yet, it's because your network's full of weak people. You haven't been watching trends, you don't have the stomach for investing, or you don't have the money to invest. So I am here on something of a mission of mercy to tell you what I wish someone had told me these years ago. So it's hard for me to talk about this, by the way, because as a general rule, I never talk about the same things other people are talking about on Facebook. And that is a very good rule to have. If you're copying what other people are writing, you're just going to be drowned out by noise. The problem is, most of these hype people on crypto, they're pretty much right. Most of their posts are somewhat accurate about what is happening to the world right now. And my fundamental goal in life is to help people improve their lives using the internet. So this small Bitcoin intermission is part of that. I genuinely believe Bitcoin is something that's going to help the small people, the people who are, job seekers allowance, the single moms, people who have no money. This is a massive opportunity to get in. And it's getting dangerously close to me giving financial advice, so I need to take a step back. But normally I'm advising you guys how to spend your time, which is your most precious resource. So you have to believe in the ability of the blockchain to change the world. It's so new and unknown to you that you have to suspend your disbelief about what's happening. I would recommend investing a little amount and watch results. The results are not overnight, but by a large margin, this is the best investment you can possibly make. So I can inevitably say, if you'd invested at the start of the year, you would have made however many millions if you put in a few thousand. Everyone is using this slide, and you've seen it around, but again, it's true. This is a massive opportunity. So here are the 7 things you need to do to get started. Number 1, do your research. As soon as you start, you will never stop. You'll just go down the rabbit hole. It's very addictive. Secondly, get your passport, proofs of address, and debit card ready to sign up. It is very hard to buy Bitcoin. Number 3, join the following sites: Coinbase, GDAX, CEX, and Bitstamp.net. Between those 4, you should be able to buy a cryptocurrency on it. And that's pretty much all I have to say. The big 4, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, they are pretty stable. So if you look at something non-risky, that's what they do. I would put $100 in each and just monitor your results the next few weeks. The altcoins have 1,000% growth when they do well, but they can also tank, and they are extremely risky. You need an American attitude to risk to play this game, being in the right Telegram groups, and be careful of Reddit. And you need to look into security too. We're in a bubble, but it's not the one you think. The market will not crash to the extent people think it will. The real bubble is how many foreign countries are printing their own money to buy Bitcoin. How many foreign countries will start using Bitcoin as a currency, which will have a domino effect, which will mean the end of cash. So the risk is not in the place you think it is. And as a general rule, don't invest more than you can risk to afford. So that is an intermission. I have no iron in the fire, but I guess I'll come back here in a year, and I'd love to see how you guys did with it.